When it comes to mind control in the MKUltra program, numerous methods and tactics were used to control the minds of the U.S. population. One other aspect of the MKUltra program that many have failed to cite is the usage of food as a weapon to control the minds of the population. What one could do with a gun, the powers that be have decided they could do far more by systematically depreciating the nutritional value of our food under what is called the Codex Alimentarius Initiative.
Use diseases today to manipulate and control people, but most of the information is at Stanford University and the Hoover Institute that shows how to use food to manipulate and control populations. And then they add these things called additives, which are behavior modifiers, which were released on the Nuremberg trial to the food to help addict people and addict them to certain types of behavior and limit their range of thinking. And that gets into the politics of the food industry and what it's designed to do. And most of the time, black folks think that food is innocent. But when you're under oppression, nothing is innocent. Everything is a tool to keep you oppressed. For some reason, we think that the food is innocent, but it's not. It's one of the weapons, the major weapons that's used to control people and cause all these diseases, hyperactivity, tooth decay, birth defects, fibroid tumors, prostate diseases. The main thrust of the disease industry is to create diseases through food. And then we look for all of these magic solutions from the same industry, the disease industry, to save us, which means we're going to get another disease, which they call side effects. So we end up going to the same person who killed us to save us. And it's
put out dozens of public documents where they're calling for an 80% world population reduction. In fact, at the Beijing Women's Conference, the World Conference, back in 1997, the head of the UN Food Program said, "We will use food as a weapon against the people."
Let me assure you that absolutely nothing that I'm going to tell you is exaggerated, is interpolated, or is imagined. Everything I'm going to tell you is documented. He who controls food controls the world. Well, they said in 1962, we're going to work toward total global implementation of Codex Alimentarius on December 31st, 2009. They were sort of guidelines. Now, Codex Alimentarius Commission is administered by the World Health Organization, WHO, and the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization. They fund Codex and they run it at the request of the UN. So they're mommy and daddy to Codex Alimentarius. In 1994, Codex, with no notice here in this country whatsoever, declared nutrients, put on your intellectual seatbelts, declared nutrients to be toxins. They're poisons. Under Codex, every dairy cow on the planet must be treated with Monsanto's recombinant bovine growth hormone. Furthermore, under Codex, every animal used for food on the planet must be treated with subclinical antibiotics and must be treated with exogenous growth hormones. If you do the numbers in the WHO FAO projections, the epidemiological projections, they estimate, not I, that just the vitamin and mineral guideline alone, when it goes into global implementation on December 31st, 2009, will result in a minimum of 3 billion, that's B, bad, big, billion deaths. 1 billion through simple starvation. Those folks who die are not particularly economically successful from the point of view of the corporations, but the next 2 billion They will die from the preventable diseases of undernutrition. Who will live? Probably those people who are wealthy enough and powerful enough to have their own pushers of clean food and nutrients. So we need your help, because the United States leadership is what's going to literally save the population of the planet.
This is the first time in human history where we have two generations of people who've never had real food, who've never tasted real food. They've been socially conditioned by the food and beverage industry to the point that their taste buds have been hijacked. When their taste buds were hijacked, it occurred when they were children. Most Americans eat sugar, starch, and a fat-centered diet, which will produce death and disease every single time.
It's like that one in St. Louis called Monsanto. Probably the most satanic corporation on earth. How you gonna make a genetic food, something that has to be made in a laboratory, and then give it to humans to eat? And then the seeds, there are no seeds. Seedless grapes, seedless watermelon, seedless oranges, seedless cucumbers. This is not from God, this is from man.
It becomes a very serious obstacle to get around, because I have to treat a patient's taste buds before I treat the real disease. See, a person who is overweight, you see all these children running around who are overweight and these adults who are overweight, those persons are starving to death. When a person's overweight, they're literally starving to death because the body is not getting the nutrients that it needs. So what it does, it tells that person, feed me more, put more in. So this person overindulges and overeats to pacify the urge of hunger, the urge of nutrient deficiency that is going on inside of their bodies. And what happens is the body will store that garbage that they're eating as fat, and that person becomes overweight. But the reality is, when you see an overweight person, you're looking at a person who's starving to death. And most people don't understand that concept. So we really have to get behind the idea of natural foods to get away from the Codex Alimentaris initiative and agenda. Because what it's going to do, if you think you're seeing a sick nation today, you project this out about 10 to 15 more years, you're going to really see people dying of preventable diseases because they're malnourished. And not because there aren't grocery stores, not because there isn't a store to go buy things, but because what is in the food, what is inside of the food does not sustain life. And that's where really where we are now.